Counter-Strike 2. If we called this game a Turkish game and declared Dust 2 as our national map, I think it would never look out of place. It's actually a game that's so close to us that we could almost call it a Turkish game. If you've listened to what I've said so far, you agree with me, don't you? Because even as I'm telling you these things, you feel so close to this game that what I'm saying doesn't really sound out of place. For example, if I told you that Kratos from God of War is actually the story of Cemil Abi from Afyon. Okay, that was really out of place. It didn't fit. Welcome to the new theory video. In this video, I will talk about the wildest theories about the game Counter-Strike 2. After this video, you might never be able to look at Counter-Strike 2 the same way again. Let me say from the start, while creating these theories, I will try to come up with a different alternative by using a bit of my imagination and of course my research about the game. But after hearing these theories, I definitely want to see your thoughts in the comments. Write down the things you find illogical. Also, that person who asks for a CS2 theory video under every video, this video is kind of for you too. If you like theory videos, you can subscribe to my channel. And also, if you like the video, I can make more theory videos about different games on the channel. Anyway, I talked too much again, so I'm getting straight to the point. I'll share my first theory about the Dust 2 map. Ready? Dust 2 is actually in Syria? No, okay. Even though its exact location is not known, we see that the desert-like terrain and building structure of North Africa, Tunisia, or the Middle East matches exactly with this map and that it has this traditional structure, right? So it's definitely in the North Africa region. You don't have to be Einstein to understand that. But for some reason, Valve has tried very hard not to tie this exactly to a specific country. Maybe they want it to be completely fictional, because Valve did the same thing before in the Half-Life game. So they make it look like regions such as Arizona and then call it fictional. They constantly avoid making a specific, clear regional definition. What I really want to discuss isn't about pinpointing the map's exact location or anything similar. What exactly happened on this map before? I mean, when you look at Dust 2, what do you see? It looks post-apocalyptic, like a world after the apocalypse, doesn't it? I mean, all these sand-covered roads, ruined walls, abandoned vehicles, and so on. I mean, it looks like the end of the world has come in the Middle East after a zombie outbreak or more likely a chemical war. Actually, at this point, CTs and Ts, that is counter-terrorists and terrorists, might be fighting over the last resources in this post-apocalyptic world. So this Dust 2 map is right in the middle of the desert and it's very desolate. Could Valve be telling us a bigger story on this map? For example, the tunnels and doors. These places might have once been used as shelters as well. With its maze-like structure, it looks perfect for a shelter after a nuclear war. Indeed, the surrounding sand and debris are important. So, after a global nuclear war, this area might have been covered as well. Actually, I'm gonna say something else. For example, when CTs spawn in the game, they appear in a more organized area, like near the upper tunnel, and this group could also be the one trying to restore order to the world. Terrorists, or Ts, could be the group intent on continuing this chaos, as their name suggests. This nuclear incident may not be the work of governments, but could be the work of terrorists. It's likely the work of terrorists, as they're the ones planting the bomb in the game. I can almost hear you saying, but the CTs are the ones defusing it. But what I'm trying to say here is that at the end of a war between two states, this nuclear disaster could have happened as well. But this disaster didn't happen because two states dropped nuclear bombs on each other. It was entirely caused by a terrorist organization. The reason I'm explaining this is because it's an answer to the theory I mentioned at the beginning of the video. What did I say? Valve always avoids giving an exact location. I haven't seen any official statement about where this place is. So they might not want to associate the act of terrorism with any particular country's region. This explains why they made the region look like somewhere in North Africa, but actually say it's a completely fictional, imaginary city. By the way, let me also mention this. According to Sescliffe, one of the designers of CS, this map actually transitions to FAST. But as I said, Valve doesn't officially state this in the game at all. Now there's also this goose thing. I mean, I'm talking about the duck picture on the wall. Maybe it's a legacy left by a former resident of the town, nicknamed Guz, who used to live here. Or maybe like the oysters in Half-Life, it could be an encrypted message. I mean, Valve had done this before in Half-Life. In fact, it's possible that this duck is a reference to a Half-Life character. What do you think? I mean, I'm just trying to come up with something purely from my imagination, but I'm also really curious about your ideas. Seriously, in the comments that are written. Now, at this point, I'm going to say something even crazier. I've discussed the destruction that would occur after a nuclear war and similar topics. What if none of this actually happened, you know? What if this whole huge Counter-Strike universe is actually just an environment created by Aperture Science for testing, just like in Portal? Maybe we think we're playing in the CS universe, but we're actually just being tested by GLaDOS in one of these labs. You know, Valve games after all. Each game has references or Easter eggs to the universe of another game. For example, this is also present in CS2. I'm talking about an Easter egg added to the train map. When you play the train map, you can see the Aperture Science Easter egg. This completely makes me think about it. Of course, I'm not thinking this just because of the only Easter egg on the train map. But on Dust 2, for example, doesn't it look like it's taking place in a very deserted area, almost like a test site? I mean, isn't it extremely isolated and cut off from the outside world? If you ask me, besides a nuclear war, it could also be a complete test environment. I mean, like in Portal. What Portal? The game Portal? Wait, speaking of Portal, why not have a Portal mode gameplay in Counter-Strike 2? For example, a mode where we teleport to different places on the map and fight using egg portal weapons. I feel like I'm starting to go crazy. Alright, I'll stop here. On a more serious note, I want to discuss something else. The fact that this Easter egg wasn't in the previous games of the series and was added later might actually be a hidden message from Valve. Maybe these are messages from a completely different Valve universe. They could even connect CS2 to a totally different place. Actually, let me explain that too. Although this might sound far-fetched, Valve could even bring a story mode to CS in the future. You're probably thinking, what does that have to do with anything, right? But if you remember, even though it had nothing to do with it, they once added a Battle Royale style mode called Danger Zone. Actually, it doesn't seem to be around these days. I think they removed it. I mean, it hasn't really come to CS2. But I don't think they removed it because it was played less. The thing is, there were actually quite a lot of players who played this mode. In fact, even the most played maps in Counter-Strike, Global Offensive, weren't available in CS2. I mean, they'll probably add them with updates and such, but if CS2 actually had a story mode, I would gladly play it. Just like in the recently released Delta Force. For example, that one also launched online, and then a nice story mode was added later, if you remember. Why not, Gabe? Now I've saved the bomb for last. I want to talk a little about the time distortion on the maps in the CS universe. Now, this theory is actually a bit of a strange one. Let's quickly recall the Dust 2 map. This map is reminiscent of a 1990s war based on the buildings and the overall time period it depicts. But when we look at the Inferno map in Italy, it's not explicitly stated that it's Italy, but it is. On that map, it's like we're suddenly transported to a small European village in 1950s Italy. So we suddenly go from the 1990s to the 50s. In fact, in Inferno, instead of a military operation, it feels more like a special ops mission. Let's jump to the nuke map from there. So how is the nuke map? It's an 80s Cold War themed map. So on this map, it's like we're preventing a nuclear war. Maybe here, the bomb is just a political threat, and the real goal is to eliminate that threat. I understand my words may seem philosophical, but the bomb is merely a surface level aspect of what I'm trying to convey. If we move on to the Anubis map from there, it seems like the past and the future are intertwined here as well. Actually, right here, it seems like this game is giving us a message. In these maps, we constantly switch between the past and the future. But actually, in Anubis, we're in an environment that's a mix of both. This again leads to the Portal theory. So actually, just like in the Portal, we're only being tested. There might not even be a war going on at all, or I'll say something even more outlandish. Maybe the Counter-Strike universe is actually the adventure of a few time-traveling soldiers. This is a weaker theory, but I'm still closer to the Portal idea. So it's basically a huge testing area. I know some of these theories might sound completely ridiculous to some of you, but somehow I really enjoy talking about them with you. That's where the fun is, man. Looking at the different things presented to us from a different perspective and coming up with different alternatives. Like I said, I really enjoy it. I hope you enjoyed it too. Oh, by the way, make sure to write in the comments which games theory ideas you'd like to see. Because I actually got this video suggestion from you guys as well. There are tons of games I've played. After all, I've been a gamer for 35 years, but I'm not some kind of game authority or professor or anything like that. I just play for fun. By the way, my channel is still new. I'd be happy if you subscribe. We're trying something new. I hope to see you all. Take care. Goodbye.